Yeah, we can go. Good evening, everybody. If you would please rise and salute our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Okay. As per requirement, notice is hereby given this is a regular meeting of the Borough of Highlands Land Use Board. All requirements have been met. Notice has been transmitted to the Asbury Park Press and the Two River Times. Notice has been posted to the bulletin board. Formal action will be taken. Roll call, please.
Mayor Brown?
Here.
Here.
Mr. Pitosh? Mr. Yusof? Mr. Montecalvo?
Here.
Councilmember Chelsea? Here. Mr. Zill?
Here.
Vice Chair Kenny? Chair Knox?
Here.
Ms. Chang? Here. Mr. Kramer? Mr. Cody?
Here.
Mr. Green? Here. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, at this point, this is open for public comment. This is general questions not pertaining to any, cases we're going to hear tonight, but more about our procedures on what we do as a board. Anybody have any questions on what we do or how we do it? Okay, seeing none, we'll move along. Okay, looking for approval of minutes, July 11th, 2024. Is it the May, or that was the...
July 11th.
Oh, July, I was here, okay. I'm trying to think when I wasn't here.
Mhm.
Okay, looking for a motion. I'll make it myself.
Mr. Zill, second.
Okay,
Mayor Brown?
Abstain.
Chief Burton?
yes.
Mr. Montecalvo?
Yes.
Mr. Zill?
Yes.
Ms. Chang? Yes. Mr. Cody?
Yes.
Mr. Green? Yes. Chair Knox?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the resolution, memorialization resolution for LUB 2022-04 Kirsch, 9th Fifth Street, Block 57, lots 8 and 9. I know we had a little bit of a thin crowd, I think, on that one, but I'll make that motion. Were you here for that? I'm not sure you were.
Not because, we were out in June.
So I think, I remember who was here. I think Frank was here?
Second, Mr. Montecalvo.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Mr. Montecalvo.
Yes.
Mr. Zill. Chair Knox.
Yes,
Thank you.
okay. This is hearing under old business, but it's actually new business. Okay. LUB 24-02, Cahill, 60 Bay Avenue, blocks 42, L1. Are they here this evening? Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Sure, is this on? Good evening. For the record, I'm Donna Jennings from the law firm of Lentz, Goldman, and Spitzer on behalf of the applicant. As the board is aware, the applicant is seeking preliminary and final major site plan approval with design waivers to raise, relocate, renovate, and expand the existing 4-unit multifamily residence on property located at 60 Bay Avenue and identified as Block 42, Lot 1 on the borough's tax maps. The property is approximately 6,425 square feet and is located in the central business district within the CBD redevelopment area Overlay 2 zone. The applicant proposes to add a fifth unit and construct a ground floor consisting of garages and storage areas. All of the residential units are located above the ground floor, which is a permitted use. In addition, the application requires design waivers with respect to the maximum driveway width of the curb, minimum lighting level, and maximum lighting level at the property line. As you are aware, the municipal land use law only requires an applicant to demonstrate that the design waivers are reasonable and within the general purpose and intent of the provisions for site plan review and approval. As the record will show, the applicant satisfies the statutory criteria to be awarded the requested design waivers. Again, these are design waivers, not bulk variances. As the proposal will help develop the property in a manner consistent with the redevelopment plan, the proposed addition aligns with the vision and goals of the redevelopment plan, such as to emphasize major gateways into the downtown Highlands and to include a mix of new residential uses within the downtown area. In support of the approval, the applicant will present the witness of two witnesses, Doug Leland, the engineer sitting to my right, and Sal LaFolletta, the architect, who's out in the audience. I'll call him when we're ready. And with that, I would just like to acknowledge that we have received board engineer planner review letter dated August 1st, 2024, which, as we go through our testimony, we will address. And of course, obviously, if we miss anything, I'm sure Ms. Roberts will point that out to you. So with that, we would like to have our engineer sworn in so that we can begin to put our case on.
And it says what you're about to provide. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And if you could, for the benefit of the board, please give your background and qualifications.
Sure. My name is Douglas Clellens. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey. My license is currently in good standing. I'm a senior project manager at Insight Engineering, where I've worked for the last 10 years, working on projects ranging from single-family homes to larger residential and commercial developments. While I have not had the pleasure of presenting before this board before, I have testified before approximately 30 other land use boards in the area and have also served as the board engineer for a local municipality, and the site plan was prepared under my direction.
Thank you. Will the board accept qualifications?
We do.
Thank you.
If you could, just for the record, you've had an opportunity to visit the site and the area around the site,
Yes.
and you reviewed the redevelopment plan and the underlying zoning ordinance?
Yes, I have.
And if you could, just describe the site itself first, and if you're relying on any exhibits, let's have them marked into evidence.
Sure. So the first exhibit I have before you is the neighborhood aerial exhibit, just to give you some context in terms of where we are.
So we should mark that for identification as A1 for the record?
Correct.
And that's a colorized for aerial of the site?
Yes, it is. And it's dated 7/26/24.
Okay.
So the project is located at 60 Bay Avenue, Block 42, Lot 1, in the Borough of Highlands. It contains 0.14 acres, or 6,405 square feet. As Donna mentioned, we're in the CBD redevelopment overlay 2 zone, CRO2 gateway parcels. It is a corner lot with frontage on 3 sides. So Bay Avenue is to our southwest, South Street is to the southeast, Shrewsbury Avenue is to the northeast, and existing residential development is to the northwest. Veterans Memorial Park is located across the street to the southeast, across Shrewsbury/South Avenue. I'm sorry, South Street. There's a mix of commercial and multifamily and single-family residences, many of which are raised, located nearby, and multifamily dwellings are permitted principal use in the zone that we are in. So just to summarize the application, the applicant is here tonight seeking approval to relocate, elevate out of the flood zone, and expand the existing 3-story dwelling. Actually, if I could, I'm going to pull up the second exhibit, which is a little more moved in.
All right, so we're going to mark this one A2 for the record. That's a blown-up version of the site plan layout.
Yes, it is.
And is there a date on that?
It is also 7/26/24. I apologize to the audience in advance. I can't seem to find a good place to put it, but we've got it on the screen. So, As I mentioned, the applicant's here tonight seeking approval to relocate, elevate out of the flood zone, and expand the existing three-story dwelling, provide new driveways on Bay Avenue and Shrewsbury Avenue, which lead to a new ground-level garage/storage area underneath the structure, a new multi-level deck, and connective walkways from the entrances to the sidewalks. New landscaping and lighting is also proposed, but I'll get into more detail later. There are currently, in the existing home, 4 residential units in the existing building. One more unit will be added as part of the renovation for a total of 5 total units. No variances are required for the application. The proposed design meets all bulk standards. The applicant does require a design waiver for maximum driveway width of 19.1 feet, whereas 18 feet is required. This is actually an improvement over the existing condition. It's approximately 30 feet wide on the Shrewsbury Avenue side, and the waiver is being requested to be able to provide additional on-site parking. So the driveway I'm referring to is over here on Shrewsbury Avenue. Currently, there's a wide, kind of undefined, but large parking area in the front. It's about 30 feet wide, so it's obviously an improvement from that, but still requires a design waiver.
Could you just explain why it's got to be 19.1 feet?
I can, yes. So it's a unique shaped property. We've got frontage on 3 sides. With the angle, the building is mostly oriented towards Bay Avenue, and with the angle of Shrewsbury Avenue, the driveway's coming in on an angle, and if I were to make it just 18 feet wide, obviously if it were a straight run, you could fit 2 cars next to each other, but here, because of, where the building is and the angle into the garage, we made it just wide enough to be able to fit 2 legal parking stalls, within our own property. So if it weren't for that, we would only be able to have 1 parking stall in that driveway. So to elaborate more on parking, the applicant is proposing to comply with the state electric vehicle regulations. 10 parking spaces are required with the electric vehicle credit. 7 parking spaces are proposed. The redevelopment plan does allow for on-street parking to be satisfied and to be considered in the parking calculation. So 3 of the required 10 are being satisfied by on-street parking. We do require a de minimis design waiver from RSIS requirement of 10 spaces. The redevelopment plan and RSIS are in agreement on the number of required parking spaces. There are 4 total garages being proposed. 1 2-car garage, which is actually a tandem garage located here on the also Shrewsbury Avenue side, and 2 1.5-car garages. Those only count as 1 parking space. The half-car designation is really just for storage for the residents, and then 1 single-car garage. We also visited the site on 2 occasions recently to perform an observation of available parking spaces within 200 feet. So we went out on Friday, July 26th at 6:15 p.m. with the understanding this was a busy time. People are coming home on Friday, the weekend's kicking off. And we also went Saturday, July 27th, the following day, midday about 2:10 p.m. and counted only the available parking stalls that were open and available to park. Any areas that had yellow painted curb or handicap parking or some extended no parking time frame, those were all excluded. We did not count any of those. On Friday, we found 14 total available parking spaces, 6 within Bay Avenue to the north, 5 within Bay Avenue to the south, and 3 within South Street. At that point, Shrewsbury Avenue was completely parked. On Saturday, we found 6 total available parking spaces, 2 within Bay Avenue to the north, 2 within Shrewsbury Avenue, and 2 within South Street. So in summary, even during these busy times, the 3 parking space deficit can be made up on street, as is permitted by the ordinance. In terms of utilities, we are proposing all new utilities for the development, gas, water, sanitary sewer, electric. As was pointed out in your board engineer's first report, the electric service is now proposed to be underground, as is in accordance with your ordinance requirement. In terms of stormwater management, we are proposing a slight increase in impervious coverage, not enough to rise to the level of what's defined as a major development by your ordinance, and we are compliant with lot coverage. But we are also proposing a roof leader collection system that will tie in to an existing inlet within South Street. The inlet's right here on this corner. I lost my place. So this will provide a benefit by reducing the amount of sheet flow over the sidewalk and reduce potential ponding within the roadway. The existing dwelling, from what I've observed, does not have gutters. So currently everything that drains off of the roof drains onto the ground and eventually finds its way over the sidewalk and out into the street. The remaining portions of the property, they're all pitched out to the public right-of-way. Neighboring properties will be protected. We are reducing flows to any adjacent properties of record. So in summary, the proposed drainage is an improvement from the existing condition. In terms of refuse, there's an area for refuse and recycling located, proposed behind the building that will not be visible from the street. Just point to it real quick. This area back here, you can see the boxes indicating the location of the cans. The cans can be taken out to the street on the appropriate day by the building ownership and then returned to the area behind the building upon pickup. So
That's essentially how it functions today.
it is correct, yes. And as you can see, it wouldn't be visible from Bay Avenue. To the north and west, there's an existing fence there that's proposed to remain. And then we also are providing landscaping along the side property line. So even from Shrewsbury Avenue, you're not going to really see it at all. In terms of lighting, we are proposing typical residential light fixtures that are warm in color. They don't give off a ton of light, similar to what exists out there today. We do recognize the need for 2 design waivers related to lighting that were identified in your board engineer's report. So relief is required from ordinance subsection 21-6511E for a minimum lighting level of 0.1 foot candles, whereas 0.3 is required. So our goal with the lighting design was to provide the minimum lighting necessary for safety while minimizing any impacts to adjacent properties. There are a few sporadic places on the property with 0.1 foot candles of light proposed, but for the most part, the driveways, the areas of ingress, egress have adequate light, in my opinion. Relief is also required from ordinance subsection 21-6511F for a maximum lighting level at a property line of 1.7 foot candles where 0.3 is permitted. This was reduced, so when we received the first report from your board engineer, we did revise the lighting design. We also took an extra step to identify some of the existing lighting in the area, knowing that, once we propose our lighting, it'll kind of blend in with some of the existing lighting that's out there in the right-of-way, and some of the spillage that was identified on the lighting plan as needing relief. I think a lot of it was attributable to some of that lighting that exists in the right-of-way. There's a few Cobra heads that are within Bay Avenue, on the corner of South Street and Bay, and also on Shrewsbury Avenue. And then there's an existing borough light pole on Bay Avenue, which we're proposing to relocate to the south to avoid our driveway. And when I took a second look at this, the maximum foot candles proposed on an adjacent property is 0.6, which is proposed on a neighboring property line and is, as I mentioned, mostly attributed to the existing lighting within the right-of-way, which was added into the analysis. So the other lighting that goes beyond what's permitted is within the public right-of-way, which is, in my opinion, where you would want more light because of the driveways and people walking on the streets. So that's the summary on lighting. In terms of landscaping, there's a few existing street trees along Bay Avenue. Those are proposed to remain. There's a row of evergreen screen plantings proposed between us and the adjacent Lot 2, along the common property line there. The existing fence along Lot 15, that is owned by Lot 15 and it's proposed to remain. We're not proposing to change that at all. We are proposing our own fence, kind of 90 degrees to that fence, and then extending out along the property line and then out toward Shrewsbury Avenue, just to provide more privacy. Other foundation plantings are also proposed along the facades of Bay Street, South Street, and Shrewsbury Avenue. The rest of the area on site that isn't hardscape, some sort of driveway or walkway, is all proposed to be lawn, and there are 2 Zelkova shade trees proposed along South Street and Shrewsbury Avenue. In terms of outside agency approvals, we will require approval from NJDEP CAFRA due to our proximity to the water. We are also in a flood zone. That's the main driving force behind the application, is to elevate the building and bring it into conformance with the flood standards. I know the board engineer's report did mention that. I'll get to that in a second. I'll go through that letter. We do also require approval from Freehold Soil Conservation District, and Bay Avenue is also a county road, and Monmouth County Planning Board approval will be required. So that's, for the most part, my direct testimony, but I can go through the board engineer's report.
Yeah, I think you should, the highlights.
So this is the updated report. General comments, number 1, confirmed we are elevating due to the flood zone, and we are expanding the building footprint towards Bay Avenue, and performing internal renovations. Number 2 speaks to...
Excuse me.
Yes, go ahead.
While you go through my report, do you mind if I ask questions as we go item by item?
Absolutely.
So can you show us specifically how the front of the building changes? It's a little difficult on your site plan and on your architectural plan to see where the front of the building is extended.
I think the architect could probably speak to that a little more, a little better, but it is being enlarged and moved, so he can certainly clarify that. Number 2 speaks to the denial of the zoning permit on February 14th and February 23rd of this year. So our understanding of the denial, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it didn't originally consider the redevelopment plan standards.
Correct.
So there are no bulk variances associated with the project. Number 3, the proposed site located in the CBD redevelopment overlay 2 zone, which allows for building coverage of 80%, and we're proposing 62. So that is confirmed. Number 4 speaks to parking, which hopefully I addressed within my direct testimony, but
Right, so I'd like to ask a question about the two spaces that you want to park
Yes.
in the driveway. So whose spaces are they? Because they seem to be right in front of someone's garage.
Sure.
And they don't seem practical at all if it's not the same owner.
So it's a very good question. Speaking internally with the team, it was decided as a group that the largest garage, the two tandem car garage, will be assigned to the largest unit on the third story, which the owner will occupy. The space immediately in front of that garage door will also be his. So there'll be 3 spaces assigned to that upper unit.
Did you say owner?
Yes.
Owner.
Yep.
All right, so the largest unit, it has the two-car garage, and that unit gets allocated 4 parking spaces.
No.
3. It's 3. So it's the 2 within the garage and then the 1 immediately outside. And then the other units all have a garage assigned to them except for 1. So that 1 unit will be assigned the additional space in that driveway located on the northern side. So it'll be, the three spaces can be coordinated internally with the owner's family. That'll function similar to a single car driveway residential home. And then that additional space to the north will be assigned to the 1 unit that doesn't have a garage and that would also get their own storage unit, but no internal parking.
Have you done a turning analysis? If you're backing out of the garage, can you make the turn into, I assume, the closest space without hitting the car parked?
Yes, we don't have, I don't have a document here with me, but if that is something we can certainly provide to you.
Well, for sure, because it just looks so tight as to be not possible. It just seems like it's going to be a very difficult maneuver over there, and it will be a jockeying of cars daily. And then there's a third party, that's connected here that wants to have that parking space, that has to worry about somebody backing out too far before they make the turn, or too quickly, or in the dark, because it's a little bit dark over there.
Isn't that part of the reason why the driveway's a little bit wider than the 18 feet?
Correct, yeah, so, and it's 19.1 feet wide. We're showing a typical 9 by 18 parking area on there. Most cars, closer to 6 feet wide. So I do feel there'll be ample room to be able to back in and out of there, even if there was a car parked on that northern stretch of the driveway.
All right, I'd like to see you model that.
Okay.
I also have a question regarding parking, just since we're on that topic.
Yes.
You're proposing putting in 3 curb cuts on Bay Avenue where 0 exists. So all of that parking that you were talking about, of there being ample street parking, you're taking away at least 4 spots.
So there is one now. It's a wide one too. The 2 driveways.
The furthest one, yeah.
The furthest to, that second driveway almost fits within the existing curb cut that's there. It's a wider one. And then additionally, we would be adding, that third driveway, which would technically lose, 1 on-street parking space on Bay Avenue. The spaces aren't currently striped, but, in our analysis, we counted, what a typical parallel stall would be, on the street. So even if you factor in the 1 space being lost, there was still enough to satisfy the 3 parking space need.
So, just to clarify, the current curb cut is almost as wide as 2? Is that what I'm kind of understanding?
It is. We're a little bit wider, but it's pretty close.
Well, can you show us on your existing conditions plan where that is?
Yes. Yes, I have that here.
And you also know that first driveway to the right, do you know how far it is from the sideline of Shrewsbury Avenue, of South Street there at the end?
And there's a stop sign at that corner, so.
So, I think you're referring to, it's probably yellowed out right now, so it'll be 25 feet from the sideline of that street. I was wondering how close that driveway is to 25 feet. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, this driveway is 26.91 to our property line. So it does comply with the separation from an intersection.
I was just wondering, because we're only losing a foot, we were losing 3 feet, that's a quarter of the spot.
Right.
Then you move it forward.
Yep.
That's all.
No, understood.
So you lose a foot.
Here.
This is the existing conditions.
Almost to the
And
corner.
that's a sheet that they already have in their plan, right?
Yeah, this is
No reason why that.
200 of our last submitted site plan dated 6/5/24. And the existing curb cut is right here on the westernmost corner of the property. It's noted by the shaded, that's the portion that's suppressed, and then there's flares on the other side.
So that would result in 2 new curb cuts that do not exist presently on Bay Avenue.
Yes.
Correct. And that would be subject to approval from the Monmouth County Planning Board as well.
Okay, do you have any further testimony?
Just to touch on the last couple items. Number 5, I believe we just discussed that. Number 6 speaks to the downspout collection system we are proposing, tying into the existing inlet. Number 7, I touched on the fence along Lot 15, and that's proposed to remain. It's owned by the owner of Lot 15. Number 8 speaks to the plantings that we are proposing. Number 9, it mentions that the applicant is proposing stone under the new decking. Slight correction, we are proposing lawn underneath. So any area that, is not designated as either a planting bed or some type of hardscape will be lawn. Number 10, we agree to comply to add the note to the pavement repair detail. Number 11, we will require a sanitary sewer connection fee. We agree to comply. Number 12, we are proposing a new gas service, and that the electric service will be underground. Number 13, we talked about the lighting design waivers that are required.
I'd like to talk more about it,
Sure.
because your deviations are large. They're tremendous. And so the required minimum is 0.3, and yet you have 0.1. And the maximum at the property line is 0.3, and you are at 2 and over. And you are lighting up the sidewalk area tremendously, which I would say is not for a private residence to be responsible for. This is the county's road with, I assume, a lovely lighting plan that they have out there. So, board members, I just think they're extremely far too wide in what they're doing. I realize it's a design waiver, but I don't think that much light's necessary. And it's going to impact everyone in the area.
Is just to clarify, the 1.7 foot candle designation in your report, was that within the public right of way?
No, it's at your property line. And at the moment, I cannot spot exactly where we spotted that. But you seem to have, I see 2.9 at the property line. And see 1. Mine, I believe it is.
Could that be scaled back?
Yeah, I mean, certainly we can work with the board engineer to make it more into conformance with the ordinance.
It's not impossible.
Great.
Okay.
We did speak about recycling and garbage, and then as a condition of approval, if approved, number 15, we would agree to comply with any required plot plan in terms of the building department review. And the last item, 16, the lower garage level understood that the enclosed garages are not permitted in terms of the FEMA DEP regulations. We are going to propose to, they will be properly vented in accordance with the requirements and review of the NJDEP and the floodplain administrator. And then 17 speaks to the affordable housing, and we would agree to comply.
Well, we don't, it doesn't apply to us, that ordinance section, because we're not increasing, we're only adding one unit, so it doesn't apply.
Understood.
It's illegal.
Sorry about that.
No, it does apply. It does apply.
It says, but it applies to multifamily
Right.
of
We're
5,
four. We're only adding one,
right?
doesn't apply.
I'll take your word for that. Austin?
No, sure.
Yes.
No, I thought it was applying because it is a multifamily.
No, because we're already 4 units, we're only adding one. You have to add 5, you have to be 5. Why would we add 1 unit to get affordable? What would be the point? It doesn't apply, it doesn't apply.
All right, you agree to comply with whatever the requirement is.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, all right.
Okay,
There will still be, the COA fees would still have to be paid for that
right.
through the construction department.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's not COA anymore, but still whatever.
Yeah, affordable alliance, yeah, I get it. They change their name every 2 or 3 years, it's hard to keep up. Okay, you have any further testimony?
Yeah, I think the only thing we wanted to do is, we are in receipt of an email that was forwarded to us by the board secretary from a neighbor, and they had raised a couple issues, and we'd like to address them.
Okay, well, I guess maybe before we get any further into that, any of the board members have any questions for?
I'm curious about the fence. Is the proposed, be an issue in the corner? If I were driving on South Street, there's a 6-foot fence and prevent me from seeing activate avenue.
The fence along the lot 2? No, I don't believe there's any site triangle issues there. As an option, it could be 6 feet and then transition down to 4. At a point that's within the front yard area. But I don't see any site triangle issues there.
Can you,
For the fences, for 6-foot fences, like 20 feet.
So my read of the ordinance has it as permitted. But if it's, like I said, if it makes more, I mean, it is common for towns to have limit it to 4 feet within the front yard. So I think it does make sense to transition it down to 4 when we reach the front yard area.
right, and I'd like to ask, have you confirmed the fences all on or within your property?
So the other fence along lot 15, that is a 6-foot PVC fence. It transitions to 4, about 15 feet or so into the property. That is owned by lot 15. We're not proposing to remove it or relocate it or anything. It'll stay right where it is. It is slightly on our property by about a foot or so, but we're planning on leaving it alone. And that was the only fence currently believe that was the fence in question.
Have you discussed that with Lot 15, or you just don't intend to touch it?
We don't intend to touch it. It'll stay right as it is.
It's not your fence.
It's not our fence, so we're planning on leaving it alone.
I would imagine they'd want us to leave it there, otherwise it's a foot of land.
Yeah, and I think there's,
We don't want to disturb their property, but if they wanted to move it, we would move it off the property, but.
Right,
we
so
don't want to-
really, the question is simply about have you spoken with the neighbors, and do we have this settled between the two properties?
and there is a slate walk that slightly encroaches onto our property,
We can talk.
but
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine too, if that fence is ever replaced, and fences don't last forever, it would have to be corrected. But that's correct, not our board.
All entrances and exits on Shrewsbury?
in terms of driveways or pedestrian?
Drive.
There's one double wide driveway on Shrewsbury, and then 3 single wide on Bay Avenue.
Okay, so you just drive, it's hard to see, you just drive right from Bay straight into the garage?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, at the end of each of those driveways is a garage
So
door.
everyone will be backing out, I guess is what I'm saying.
That is correct, yes.
Could you, just for everybody's benefit,
Yeah.
just show them
Sure.
where the driveways
Absolutely.
align with the garages?
Yes, so there's a little text here that designates the garage finished floor of 5 at each of the 3 garage door entrances, and then leading here, you can't really see it, it's underneath the deck, but there's a driveway that leads to that garage door, and same thing here, there's a deck above, but that's a full driveway leading to that garage door, and then finally, the one all the way to the westernmost is also leading up to the garage door, so there's.
And the Shrewsbury Avenue, just show
Yes,
everyone.
and then
where-
there's the Shrewsbury Avenue, the garage door here,
It's a double garage.
yes, it's a 2.
Well, that they stack,
Yes.
it's not side by side.
Right, and the garage here, 1 garage door, and then, the double wide driveway. This portion, just leads to, this is a storage area here, so there's no vehicular movement needed here, but, there's access to a storage unit there, and then it also connects to the walkway that leads to the back with, some bike racks, and then a mechanical platform right here with, refuse and recycling below that.
Okay.
Also on your bulk area and, I'm sorry, okay, turn that up. On the bulk and area requirements, there is nothing listed for your front yard setback, because it looks like there's no front yard setback, at least for that first larger garage that's next to lot 15. So do you have the dimensions for what your front yard setback are?
Yes, so
Because it's just
the
blank.
minimum front yard setback, so since it's a corner lot, we have 3 frontages. We're required to meet the front yard setback on all 3 frontages. In the redevelopment plan, it's 2 feet that's required. We are proposing 5 feet from Bay Avenue, so we're compliant there. 8.3 feet from South Street,
Mm-hmm.
we're also compliant there. And then 8.05 feet from Shrewsbury Avenue, which is also compliant. And that's measured to the farthest extremity of the deck.
Last question on parking. Have you done any sort of a traffic study of what it would be like to have 3 cars trying to be backing out of these driveways on an angled, heavily trafficked street? Or have you done any sort of traffic study regarding that corner?
So we did not perform a traffic study. In my opinion, it's underneath, it's below the typical threshold that would trigger the need for a parking study. We're not proposing a great increase in traffic. These driveways will be very minimal traffic. There won't be a lot of pulling in and pulling out, since it's a
I think you
residential
misunderstand
use.
me. I'm not saying that the driveways are going to create more traffic. I'm telling you that especially in the summertime, Bay Avenue is an incredibly high, traffic area. And it would possibly create a hardship for the folks that are trying to pull in and out of their driveways. So I think that that is something that needs to be studied, especially because it's not a straight run. It is really, it's almost a blind turn, especially the continuance of South Street, which you can't really see on this depiction. You cannot see what's coming on Bay Avenue on the other side of South Street, which is frankly why I never go down that street myself. But just the continuance of Bay Avenue from that section through Veterans Park is not a completely blind turn, but it is nearly a blind turn. And I'm just saying that I think it would behoove you to relook at this issue because it is high traffic. There's a lot of people that use Bay Avenue in that area, will use all of Bay Avenue. It's just something that concerns me a great deal.
Okay.
You know what the distance is between the two driveways? The two curb cuts, the greater distance, you know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
Is that gonna be one spot or is it gonna be two?
It looks like. I had my scale ready, sorry.
Yeah, let's do it.
So between those two, you've got about 35 feet.
35, so that's
So
two.
we're gonna be short.
Yeah,
We're only gonna get one spot there instead of two. Correct.
exactly.
And then the other thing I just want to bring up is, as you see on your picture right here, the sewer means in there, the lateral's already done. I'm not 100% sure, but unless you're increasing the size of the pipe, there's a good possibility that that street's going to be paved in a month or so. You might want to think about putting it in right now. If you're going to increase the gas size or water size, because they won't do it unless you're going to increase the pipe size. Just to change it, they're not going to change it.
Understood. And if, in those details, since it is a county road, yeah, and we can work that out, if we need to relocate the lateral to,
Just so it's in the curve.
If you wanted to add a lateral, you should do it from the Shrewsbury side.
yep.
In the street, you might want to look at that immediately.
Yeah, there is sanitary that exists within South Street in Shrewsbury as well.
Okay.
Because the Bay Avenue sanitary was just put in months ago, brand new.
Understood. And just to go back to your concern regarding the driveways, there are 4 units that exist currently, and there is a driveway there currently. You know, to my knowledge, there hasn't been issues with coming in and out of that driveway.
I understand
And
that,
it
but
is-
the driveway that exists is the furthest from the intersection. And the one that is closest to the intersection is the one of the most concern. But the one that's that's existing right now, that's not really a concern of mine because it's been there for decades. And putting in 2 brand-new ones, especially so close to the intersection, I don't believe is a very good idea.
So Bay Avenue it's a 25-mile-an-hour road, and the driveway setback does comply with the ordinance requirement, you know, separation from an intersection. You know, to me, with the configuration of that intersection and the cars that are coming around and making a turn, you know, they'll be doing that at a relatively low speed. Yeah, because it is a 25-mile-an-hour road, you know, so to have a single residential driveway there, to me, there would be ample opportunity for the person backing out to be able to pause and make sure no cars are coming, and that no pedestrians are in the sidewalk, and be able to make that maneuver out into Bay Avenue.
Okay, any other further questions from the board?
Earlier you were saying coming off of Schneidberg Avenue, that you're going to park 3 vehicles in that area?
There are two, so the 9 by 18 typical areas are designated by these dashed lines. So there's 2 here, and the third, these 3 will be assigned to the largest unit on the 3rd floor. And then the additional space to the north will be assigned to the one unit that does not have its own private garage.
So there's 2 cars in that driveway, a third one's in there.
Not in the driveway.
Well, I'm going to get to the area that you just pointed out as an extra spot.
I think that's what we were talking about, you were talking about the turning radius, right?
Well, right.
So even if you don't turn, it's 19 feet wide. What's the average car, 7 feet? Plus near
6 to 7 feet.
7 is 21, it's still not there.
No, there's only 2,
Side by
there's only 2 in that driveway.
The two spaces in the garage are,
So the
In a row.
upper unit, the largest unit, we're assigning 3 of the spaces to that unit. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 total here that we're talking about. So 1, 2, and 3 will be assigned to the upper unit.
So 2 cars in the driveway, in the garage, the third one blocking those 2 cars in the garage. And one right there.
And the 4th one is to the north, and that will be assigned to the unit that does not have its own private garage.
Good luck getting the garbage can back.
Yeah.
I think there's enough room.
Yes, 3 cars, 3
Yes.
The 3 cars that are in the big unit go out for dinner, and the 4th guy wants to get in or out, how do we get in or out? Just a question.
Obviously, yeah, that's why we're assigning it to one unit. So that can be coordinated internally. It'll be within one family that's living there. So, yeah, they're gonna have to talk about it and coordinate it, but I think it can work.
So it's basically assigned parking.
Yes.
And I think that would play it to itself. If somebody has, I don't know, a family of 5 with 5 cars, they're not going to rent that place.
Correct. Yes. And actually, that,
I would also add that 1 block away, there's 63 parking spaces.
is a fair point.
You can see on the other drawing that you had.
But the borough parking?
Yeah.
Yep.
There's the back row right there, you go. So, that's all, I just point that out.
Okay.
Oh, sure. Hennessy uses a lot of that, but it's still borough-owned. Okay. Okay, any other questions from board members?
Quick question. So this new building is 4 2-bedroom homes and 1 3-bedroom apartment. What was it before?
I'm going to defer that to the architect.
Well, I think the owner is here.
He also knows, yes.
We want to, hold on, we don't want to just shout it out. Yeah.
There's 3 2-bedrooms and 1 studio.
3 2-bedrooms and 1 studio. So you're effectively increasing you're increasing it by 4 bedrooms, right? I'm just trying to.
I'm not good at quick mental math. 3 2-bedrooms, that's 6 bedrooms. I think the studio counts as 1 bedroom. So 7 bedrooms. So yeah, going from 7 bedrooms to 11. 1 additional unit.
One expanding the other.
Correct. Oh, absolutely.
Because you're doing a renovation in the interior of the building as well.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions from the board members? Okay, any questions from the audience? Not statements, just questions? Okay.
My name is Hugh Sharkey. I'm sorry. My name is Charles Johnson, actually the owner. My wife and I have owned two adjacent lots, 68 Bay Avenue and 9 Shrewsbury. And we have been informed of things where that's what we get approvals for 9 Shrewsbury lot, and specifically position the house to take into consideration setbacks. Because we're a residential lot that is abutting a commercial lot. And 2180, I believe, is of the code.
Well, I think we're talking about questions. Let me see the questions.
I submitted them earlier to where I think they were going to address them. We were going to address them, but the key issue is why doesn't code 2180 deal with corner lots and a 12-foot required rear setback from a commercial property to a residential property? Why isn't that on the plan, engineer's report? And why doesn't it require a full variance?
Sure, so I can answer that. We're not a commercial property, so
You're in the commercial zone, commercial business zone, it's a gateway property.
so we're proposing a residential use, and in the definition of corner lots within the ordinance, a corner lot that has, so all of the frontages are required to meet the front yard setback. The remaining property lines are designated as side yards. So we meet.
That's not true. I have the ordinance right here.
As do I. That says corner lots shall have front yards along every abutting street. The remaining yards shall be considered side yards, except when a non-residential lot abuts a residential district. In this case, the yard abutting the residential district shall be considered a rear yard. So we're proposing a residential use.
It's in the CD, Central Business District zone, which is different than a residential zone. So the Central Business District zone, okay, is abutting a residential zone, and the requirement is that a 12-foot setback, and it's a rear yard, not a side yard. It says, it's right, it's a rear yard. Yeah, there's 2 lots, one Bay and Shrewsbury, and then 1 rear yard against the residential zone. So if you look at the map, that's how I'm plan to see it, well, it is, you can see this property application is abutting the residential lot number 9 Shrewsbury, which we just had approved. So that's my, specific question.
Okay.
I don't want to jump ahead, but if ever we want to answer a question, I'm sure our professionals could probably answer a question.
Sure, absolutely.
Sure. So you are referring to zones, and we are referring to the uses allowable in the zone. And in this case, on that lot, we have a residential use. And that's why it does not follow the commercial requirements. That's why, because it is residential.
And this is more of a site, I'm sorry.
That's not what it says. In the zoning, that the use, they should change the use to make it it's supposed to be under the Central Business District plan, to have a first floor cafe or welcoming type of item as a gateway property. So you want to come into town and you want to have something, so it's not being used that way, but that's the requirement.
I think to answer that kind of quickly, if they were to knock this property down, you'd be correct. They couldn't rebuild what they have currently without coming before the board. It would go back to that current, or what you're referring to. Right.
Good point.
This is why this is a more of a site plan review than it is a brand new zoning application. It's a piece of dirt and want to build this. It's very different because they already have their use there, and it's been operating as that for, I don't know, decades. And they're modifying that use. They're not looking for an additional use. They're modifying their current use.
Well, under what you're saying, then you would, when you just lift the property up straight up, because right now that property as it exists has the 12-foot setbacks to each of the corners, so the front porch corner into the sheds, the property, of the efficiency. So the house was built according to the zoning rules. It has the 12-foot setback right now, that rear yard setback. And I'm saying that should stay that way, where that 12-foot. And then put the house, or move and expand the house closer to South Avenue, where there's plenty of room to do that, to keep the 12-foot, which exists now. So, if you.
Okay, we're still trying to get into asking questions, you're kind of slipping into like a statement.
Well, I'm asking why.
Well, I think they gave testimony on the whys. I think our professionals who kind of are agreeing with their whys. If our zoning official would have kind of gone on, they would be here for a variance, not a site plan review. So we're relying on our professionals, to give them the advice, and that's why they're here.
I think we made a mistake, though.
Okay, well, that's, you know, neither here nor there, but.
Okay, well, it's important because then it would require burden of proof of these variants.
I think you're referring to, at that point, multiple people making mistakes, because they had to go through, you know, several hands before it came to this board. Our professionals, our town zoning officer, and we're all in-house now, we're not even dealing with Milltown.
I'll submit it as evidence, and it's now the appropriate time, because I.
Does that work? I'm not sure.
You're right,
Yeah.
there's questions at this time.
When, I asked you before the meeting, when time?
I said to you, I don't know how you'll get a chance to speak your mind, and, yeah. Okay. That's why we're trying to keep it organized, so we have questions, and you'll get a chance to make a statement, and that sort of thing.
Right, and then with the parking, on Shrewsbury Avenue, that driveway, you have a big conversation about, where is the garbage pickup going to be in relation to that driveway? On the plan, it shows it as right there in what's called fourth space, so besides turning, coming out back down the driveway, you're gonna have 5 units of garbage, with possibly 2 cans for each.
Sir, can you see this? Can you see this from where you?
I think
It's on the screen.
it's the same thing, Rob, yeah.
You see where the cans are pointed out earlier?
That's where they're stored, but
Yep.
for the pickup, you gotta walk them through a parking space, the fourth space, and then stick at least 5 cans in the driveway there, 5 cans.
On Bay?
You might, they have an option.
I live on
to
Bay.
the side yard as well.
I put garbage out there yesterday.
Side of the building.
Well, I guess, what's you bring that up?
So my question is there adequate space for refuse cans in that little tiny corner of Shrewsbury Avenue on the driveway?
And Doug, Jenna, but there's a proposed walkway on the Bay Avenue side, near where things are stored. So I suppose you could bring garbage in 2 directions, right?
That's what they do now.
Out to Bay Avenue and out to
They
Shrewsbury.
do use currently both frontages for refuse pickup.
More to your point, sir, if they bring it to Bay Avenue, the can's gonna be in front of your house.
No, because
I know where you're going, I see it.
I think you have to.
Sounds like there already are.
You have 30 feet of space on Bay Avenue that can pick up on parking space, you have to drive 3 driveways.
Okay, we're still keeping questions going. I know it's still frustrating, but.
His question still is, where are they gonna put garbage cans? Where are they gonna go around and around?
So you don't have enough space for all the residential cans on Shrewsbury. And there's no pathway right now on the plans along 68th Day to go from, go the other way from Mount Bay. So what do you do?
So we can, as we currently do, we can utilize both Shrewsbury and Bay for the collection of the refuse cans. There's enough frontage there to be able to fit, you know, 3 cans on one and 2 on the other, or vice versa.
Okay, so that's how that's going to be resolved. And then you got a driveway right there, I just don't see how that's going to work, but if these can't flood, the area floods, and can't take care of the wind closing down.
Okay, but Mr. Sharkey, we all deal with that. I mean, you live next door. Your cans are out front of your house as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I live on Bay Avenue too, down the way. Yeah, sometimes the cans are 2 blocks away. I've actually bought bigger trash cans so they wouldn't blow away. But the recyclable ones are still small, and every now and then they're across the street, 2 blocks away. It's just kind of living down here.
Yeah, with the fences, the ordinance, 2165.7, with fence signs, I think we brought up that in the front yard, of houses, it has to be 4 feet. It can't be 6 feet all the way to the front of the building. So I think we're gonna have to transition it from 6 feet down to 4 feet, because again, it affects the sight of people pulling out of us.
I think you had testimony, you said you were going to do that.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, that was part of their testimony.
Once they run record.
No problem.
Okay. And then with landscaping, how many, the landscaping plans, have a couple of, trees being removed, some pretty large trees, and then there's supposed to be another 18 replacement trees. I don't see where those 18 are going to be on the plan. That would be,
Yeah, there's a row, adjacent to lot 2 of an evergreen tree.
so those evergreens are counted as trees?
Yes,
Or are they shrubs?
those are trees.
Went over the parking. So with the garages for parking, you have a stacked garage shown on the plan, so that counts as one spot?
One of the garages is a tandem stack counts as 2 parking.
Front to end.
Okay.
Not long enough.
I think that, have you considered any other, size properties for that? Because right now the plans are indicating that it's a substantial increase in the building coverage area. Did you consider any other options of, like a duplex that fits right where the existing property is?
So the current proposal meets both the requirements for building coverage and lot coverage.
Just for the record, the building coverage permit is 80%, and the proposal is 54.5. So there's quite a bit of additional building coverage we can have, and the maximum lot coverage is 80%, and we're at 62. So we also have quite a bit more lot coverage we could have used up and not had in there.
So what you're saying is you could actually make a bigger addition. Theoretically, you can go bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have maybe more of a car issue, well, maybe not. Maybe if you went bigger, you'd get an extra garage out of it or 2. So just, okay,
That's what I have. Thank you.
okay. Anybody else have any questions from the audience?
That's a good question.
Sure.
When you lift this, are you moving it when you lift it, or you're just adding to it?
It will,
The architect probably can answer that better.
yeah, I believe it will be
It's
moved.
a big house to be rolling away.
Yeah, it can be done.
I'm not sure we'll make it.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I have one question. So 80% is the CBD zone, right? But because it's residential, does it matter? Because in my head, the residential use, it's in the CBD zone, so you're using the CBD zone code, but you're applying to a residential. So I'm just trying to understand
How do I answer that?
So, well, that's exactly how it works.
Yeah, it's more along the lines of already has a particular use, so they're not changing that use. Again, if they knock that property down, you'll be right, they have to build it very differently. But because it's already then, already a multifamily, I guess that area is zoned multifamily as well, I
It is
believe.
also permitted use.
So they're within their right of doing what they're proposing.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to understand is the 80% was, the 80% coverage specifically to commercial use.
I think it's no harm in this, but okay, maybe you could answer, yeah.
It's the Central Business District redevelopment overlay, and there are multiple uses within that business district. So those requirements, the bulk requirements, are not per use. Those are per zone, right? And everyone and every type of use in that area has to abide by those same restrictions.
Okay, regardless of use.
That's right.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
And again, if they would have knocked this property down and it was dirt, and they came before the board, it may fall into different criteria.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else before we let this gentleman, I guess, go on that side of the,
I'm not going anywhere. If there's
okay.
any more questions?
Well, that's what I was asking. Anybody else have anything else? I know you have your architect here. Yes.
Come on.
Yep.
Sal, come on up.
Thank you.
Now, Sal, we know.
Oh, I hope that's not gonna hurt the application. Careful, don't let that go.
Tough to follow that, I'll tell you that much.
Okay, yeah, let's swear you in.
In the testimony you're about to provide, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yeah.
And just for the record, give your background and qualifications, even though they don't say the million, just for the record.
Salvatore LaFralita, registered architect, New Jersey, and New York for over 30 years. I've done over 100 homes here in the Highlands, Atlantic Highlands, all throughout Monmouth County, many LIPs in this area going back to 2012.
And your license is still valid today?
My license is still valid today.
Is that the qualification?
We do.
Thank you.
All right, so basically, I'm just going to go through the plans and try to answer any questions after my brief summary. One of the questions that came up, we're actually lifting the building, which is from 1923. It's been hit many times. I don't know how many hurricanes and storms it's gone through. Structurally, it's not sound beneath, so we're going to be replacing a lot of the understructure. We are lifting it and moving it forward 8 feet towards Bay Avenue, to be precise.
Well, there you go.
So we actually are moving it.
What I'm getting at is we're talking about how it's situated on the property.
Mhm.
So to move it forward is one thing, but to move it forward to the side, it's a totally different thing. So you can't really, it's either one way or the other. Is what I'm
Yes,
talking.
basically, we're moving it forward. We're expanding it to the side, and we're expanding it towards Shrewsbury. So we talked about the garages. Some of them are shared to the largest unit. 3 of the units get their own private garage, and as was explained before, two cars would be parked in the driveway. My question has always been, why can't the driveway go right to the property line, even if it was, a gravel driveway? And if that was permitted, we'd have no issue with the turning radius. So I don't know what the code is on that, paved versus gravel, but we actually.
Well, I guess just to stop you there, I think there's something coming down the pipe with our impervious coverage.
Yeah.
And I would recommend gravel.
Okay, and if we could go straight to the property line, we'd pick up another 5 feet, and there'd be no issue with that turning radius.
I don't know the ordinance off the top of my head whether a driveway can be paved or stoned right to the
Well, I'm saying,
property
it's not us,
line.
it's DEP. They're making changes to all of the stormwater ordinances. I mean, they're statutes that then, therefore, we will have to adopt them as ordinances in order to be compliant with the National Flood
Okay.
NFIP.
Like they're on the water.
All right. So, again, four garages, each equipped with an EV charger. Some of them do have storage areas in addition to garage space. We have indoor and outdoor bike racks, an elevator and an entry foyer on the Shrewsbury side. Elevator goes up to all 3 floors from the ground floor. First floor apartment, I don't know if that, I will take questions afterwards on any of this. First floor apartment is two large units. a two-bedroom and a two-bedroom. The previous studio was basically this area right in here. That was it, kitchen and a studio bedroom. So we're expanding that towards the one-time existing side driveway. And now we're going to be parking underneath those two bedrooms. So we extended that side and we'll be able to park underneath it. The rear of that first unit had a large enclosed deck porch. So basically what we're doing is the same footprint of that deck porch with the roof. We're just enclosing it, and we're going to pick up living space, and that will become the kitchen with a fantastic view of Sandy Hook, the marina, Veterans Memorial Park, and such. Each of the units have ample deck space to meet the minimum 100 square foot requirement for outdoor space. I think the smallest deck is 154 square feet. Moving on to the second floor, again, it's two-bedroom units. One of them is an exact copy of the unit below, and the other one has a smaller unit from the one that's below it, but it also has the bedroom of the third floor apartment. So unit E, which is the three-bedroom apartment, one of their bedrooms is a duplex. So the main living space is on the third floor. The master bedroom is with an internal stair down to the second floor. So it's all comprised of one large unit, and that would be the owner's unit, which, by the way, the two bedrooms that are being used for this fifth apartment there's two college-age kids, so they're not even here all the time. So I don't know if you could put that in any kind of format, but with the parking situation, they're off to college, 6 months a year until they graduate, I guess. So whatever the point is.
Well, I'd have to assume when this construction starts, especially the lift, I've been through it.
Oh, yeah,
Everyone's out. And it could take a better part of a year, if not longer, before that gets finished. So I would assume
that's
anybody that's
aggressive.
renting there is going to need to find another place to live for at least a year, give or take. But yeah. That's just kind of an obvious, but okay.
Yep, for sure. We addressed the outdoor space, so that's it on the floor plans. The last floor plan is the third floor unit, which is the largest. The two bedrooms, of rather large living kitchen space with the decks, again overlooking Sandy Hook, the marina, and Veterans Park. One little more roof deck at the top of the elevator landing, and we're proposing to put one of the ACC units up on that roof deck. It's just more economical to heat and cool the upper floor. There were some questions about the building height. We are taking it to the mid-level of the existing roof. By the way, this is the existing house, and if we just lifted it and did nothing and didn't expand it at all, that would still be the roof height to meet the FEMA requirement of getting above the 11.
Do you know what your current elevation is there?
What is it?
Yeah, like, what is it currently? And I know what you need to go to, but
It's,
I know it's kind of high up over there. It's,
don't get it. What is that? What is it? Can anybody tell me what the mid height is right now? So it's the mid height minus 11 feet. That would be existing.
No, that's,
11 already, right now.
No, yeah. So you're asking what the mid height of the existing house is right now?
well, I was just asking what the base flood it's going to be relevant. Go ahead with this. Okay.
The base flood elevation is 11. Our finished floor is at 14. That's what we're going to be at.
But you're going to comply with FEMA. That's the end of the day. That's all that matters. Okay.
because it's on the plan.
So that the elevations, all three sides, this is the Bay Avenue side. I don't know if there was a comment that came up, why doesn't the porch go across the entire front? I don't really think it needs to. I think we've made quite of an attractive main entrance for at least two of the apartment units. It's quite a large front porch deck as it is, It also wraps around to the south avenue. Again, this is the Shrewsbury elevation. A little glass enclosed breakfast area for the third floor unit. The additional 2 elevations, again, that would be the front. We did this one already. It's a double, sorry. That takes care of that. And we had a little bit of time to, just give a little bit of an idea of what we're doing. I don't know how long this house has been yellow, but it was built in 1923. I don't think it's going to be yellow anymore. We're going to try to use the, cedar impressions.
So that would be 8th grade colorized version of the elevation from which street?
That'd be Bay Avenue. That's your Bay Avenue elevation. It's up on the board, so it's still have to be submitted.
Yeah,
It's just-
that wasn't part of the submission package.
It was,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, I agree.
Okay, all right, I understand.
Are you aware that this property or portions of the property are located within the coastal A, which means you have to build to the VE zone? I'm just saying, most of downtown Highlands is in the AE zone. This property straddles both the coastal A as well as the AE.
Yeah, I'm not
And
gonna-
that requirement is that you have to build to a VE zone and
We are
looking for
prepared to do
velocity.
that. We are prepared. I'm not gonna lie to you, very confusing, whatever the VE.
No, believe me,
the
if I didn't
jour
live
is,
it,
the
if I
AE
didn't live and
jour.
breathe it, I wouldn't know all of these things.
We are
But I
prepared.
strongly recommend you make an appointment with the construction office to know exactly how to go through all of your flood design work with the
Some of
construction.
your walls may need to be breakaway.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've done it a dozen times. I have a couple of details that your
I'm sure
township.
the building department would probably stop
Is
the tracks
is
too,
on
right?
board with.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they wouldn't give you any permits until
Larger
you go over
piers,
with it.
T-shapes, piers, breakaway walls in between, including in between the garage spaces. Whether the breakaway walls are thinner.
Part of that's going to be required,
Yeah,
obviously.
whatever's,
Okay.
we're ready, we're ready. That's about it. If anyone has any questions, there was no other parking questions, right, other than, they are parking 4 cars there now. I understand that it is further away, from the intersection, but 4 cars have been coming in and out, like people have said, for decades.
Yep. Understood. Any other board members have any questions for the architect here? Okay.
No questions?
Any from the audience have any questions for the architect? Okay. Again, questions?
Yeah. Few shorts, Bay Avenue on Shrewsbury. With the decks in the front facing South Avenue, how big are they? With,
What's the width of the entire deck on Bay Avenue?
not on South Avenue. You
Oh,
said there are 3 big decks out there on South Avenue.
yeah.
I'm just wondering what the size is.
Well, I'm going to say it's 20, 25, 30 feet wide.
In the deck?
The depth at the widest point is about 10 feet.
So it could it be shortened, reduced, if you pick up 4 feet, reduced to 6, for example?
It can, we're going to the allowable setback. The owner wants to take advantage of that marina view, the Veterans Park view, and we are elevated now, so that is going to be a nicer view than they have currently. Basically, it's that deck on the side, elevated and brought out 5 feet more than the original deck.
So could you actually move the house close to South Avenue and reduce the deck from 10 feet to 6 feet? And that way it frees up space in the back?
As mentioned earlier, it's a good point, moving it one direction is hard enough. Moving it forward and rolling it to the side is, sounds good on paper, but in practicality, it's going to be a tough one.
And then with the covered porch on Shrewsbury, it looks like on the plans that you're adding, an extra 2 feet possibly towards Shrewsbury, which is where the.
Yeah. But we also are still within the setback by a good 3 feet. That would be this one right here, right?
I understand that. You're making, you're using up more parking space in that front section by, expanding the works deeper here.
Yeah, I mean, we could make another parking space underneath the deck if we went that much further out, but it's gonna be tight. And that'd be considered a carport then, right? A parking space underneath the deck would be considered a carport, and it actually gets close to another corner intersection with another curb cut, so
Right.
I don't know.
And then my last question is, whether you work with the, recycling and garbage cans, where they're located in storage, should they be enclosed? Because you can see them from, I know you can't see them from Shrewsbury Bay, but you'd be able to see them from, the neighborhood, you might want 2 blocks with what we stand ready to do.
So, to answer your question, four of the units have their own garage space. If they want to keep their garbage pails inside their garage space, especially the 1.5 car garage, there's plenty of room to keep your recyclable and your trash in your own garage space, and just roll it out to Bay Avenue or roll it out to Shrewsbury if that's an issue, but you can't control that. I mean, how do you control that? Can you mandate that somebody?
Residents, 5 different residents would dump in their trash there and store it there for 2 times a week, gets in and home out to the front, but we want to noise and so they can accommodate, people could accommodate having the trash in their garage, so that would be,
Fair enough, but we never really determine who takes the trash out, whether the homeowner is gonna, provide some kind of janitorial service, or each unit's, tenant is supposed to take out his own garbage. That hasn't really been determined. If we.
We're not to cut you off, but we've heard testimony about this quite a bit.
Yeah.
We've been down this road 10 minutes ago.
and to make sure, with the chart, said, well, the size, said the existing, area is, 3,000 square feet and then it doubles to 4,400, this is, I guess.
We're talking about the, size of the, the square footage,
Yes.
or the lot size?
Well, it says the total is 7,400 square feet, habitable area. But double. The existing to what you're proposing is double the square footage, right?
We have existing as 5,000 and change, and the, total new is 7,000, so it's 2,000 now.
Okay. And my last question is, the plans with the height, the roof midline, it looks like you're calculating it to the bottom. You aren't going up the extra 3 feet or whatever it is to the midline. It doesn't seem to appear that way in the drawing, am I mistaken?
We're taking it to the midline of this gable, right
Well, the
here.
highest gable is supposed to be,
Yeah.
right? So that's the highest gable.
Correct.
But your plans are taking to the bottom floor. It's not going up the extra, to the midline of that gable.
I think it is. I mean, technically, if you wanted to go on my CAD, that's how it's measured.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else from the audience have any questions? Any other board members have any questions? Okay.
That's our case in chief. I mean, it's a permitted use, and as was discussed during the hearing, we actually could have built a bigger building with that extra impervious coverage and, building coverage, but this is what the applicant proposes. I think it's, a building that's almost more than 100 years old, and it needs to be brought current and be modern, and I think it's going to look beautiful. And we would respectfully request the board grant the approval this evening.
Okay. And again, remind the board, this is not a variance issue. This is them just modifying what they currently have.
And it's just the design waivers that are the only relief.
Correct, thank you.
So if I'm correct, we're looking for a reduction in the lighting, to taper the fences from 6 foot down to 4 foot on both the Bay Avenue side. Well, not the Bay Avenue side. Lot 15 is on the Bay Avenue side, so that would be on the Shrewsbury side. Stormwater into the borough inlet, I would defer to our engineer on that, but I do believe that that is not allowed according to our borough ordinance.
So what we have, you checking that out?
Yeah, I'm going to do that
All
right
right.
now.
So you heard the engineer testify that this is not a major development. I think it takes a lot to be a major development, right? But that doesn't mean that small sites like this still generate stormwater and add impervious cover and can potentially discharge water onto the neighboring properties, even though it's less than a major development. So what the applicant has done here is design the site so that the water runs out towards the street. What they also testified was they want to connect the downspouts directly to the inlets. If the ordinance does not allow for that, they're going to have to just let those downspouts run over land. Ultimately, the water will go over the curb and into the streets, but it won't be a direct connection.
Okay, it's ordinance, it's, the section of the code is 9-12, .3, which is prohibited conduct, and that reads, no person shall discharge or cause to discharge through an illicit connection to the municipal stormwater system operated by the Borough of Highlands, wastewater, any type of water, other than stormwater. So maybe it can be done.
That's,
So you
that's
can't
under
dump your dishwater out of the
stormwater.
window.
Yeah, the stormwater is 9-13, yeah.
Okay,
We're good.
okay.
So we are okay.
Are we doing anything about the parking? Somebody mentioned it before. Is that something that we need to?
Well, that's, I was just trying to run through all of the notes that I have scribbled on my paper here.
I think they give testimony to their parking.
Right, they did give testimony, we're creating 2 driveways, we're removing probably 4 spots on Bay Avenue, that are present now. I don't know if anyone wants to address that issue. But if any resolution were to be, granted, I believe we should address that, removal of parking spaces on Bay Avenue.
As far as paying into the parking waiver, or?
Yes.
Okay. I can maybe keep going with that. I know what it is. I'm not sure I can explain it correctly, though.
It's the parking,
Okay,
Interject on that, there was a comment earlier that we only had 35 feet between the 2 driveways.
Let's say that's what I said, 35.
And what do we need, 36? We need 36 for 2 spots?
38.
38? I thought they were 18 and 18.
No, yeah, 9 by 18.
So,
36.
so we can move one drive. We can move one drive over a foot, and there's your 2 spots on Bay Avenue.
okay. That would actually be recommended, it sounds like.
Yeah, you could write that in.
But 9 by 18s are when you pull in nose first. When you're parallel parking, they need to be longer.
23?
No, it's 20 or 22,
All right.
right? But it certainly requires more than for, like in a parking lot. So I don't think you can
Have you ever
get
parked in
that.
Brooklyn?
Feels like you can do it.
we're not in Brooklyn.
So is there,
It's crazy. All right, take it back then. I don't think
Okay.
we can't fit 40 feet without stretching the building.
okay.
Right, and I did ask for, the backing out of the garage to be modeled on the engineer's plan, so we can see where the bumpers is going to go, and hopefully not damage the car the second car parked in
Sure.
the driveway.
I think if we address the issue of whether or not they can go to the property line, that was, I think, would satisfy us. That turn radius would be, right?
Yeah, but that determination was gonna come for how long?
No, we're going by what's on the books today.
Oh, yeah?
We're not gonna wait for that. We would decide right now what we're currently have. And I don't know if there is anything. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
So right now, that plan shows he's 5 feet away from the fence line. So there's an extra 5 feet. So it's almost the width of a car. To push that car over to the other side, to give that much more room for the turning radius, to get into that garage.
To make it wider.
Make it wider.
Instead of 19 and a half, we would ask for 20.
Correct.
Okay.
That'd be more than that. More than that. It's almost an extra car.
Setbacks for obstruction.
You might not even need a wider curb cut, because you just pull in and go.
Yeah, you could
pull in and just go to the
You
side.
could narrow it back down to even 18 at the curb if that becomes an issue.
Right.
And then we skew it out after the 18.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Pump it out.
Yeah, down an angle.
Okay. I guess how do we put that into like a resolution of some sort,
I think
or,
that would be answered by zoning. Zoning will tell you whether or not you could pave it or put, when you go for your, if you were to be approved, when you go for all your building permits, they will tell you whether or not you can have that. What type of service you can have.
Yeah, so widen the driveway pending a decision by the zoning officer.
Gravel, exactly right, yeah.
And again, whenever the zoning officer determines.
okay, fair enough, yep.
I don't want to take away from what you said. If you think we should see that, then by all means, I think we should.
I wonder if you could explain what rule is coming that would allow a stone driveway but not paved.
It's the DEP, MS4, this municipal stormwater, where they, DEP's last update was done in 2022, and we were required to change our, design standards and, building codes, including UCC, that are for projects that are in the flood zone, and we had to adopt them, or else we would be in peril of everyone in town losing their NFIP flood insurance. So it was sort of, here it is, and you have to do it. What's also coming down the pike is currently we are in the majority of downtown Highlands is in the AE zone, which our requirement is you have to build to the BFE plus 1 foot if you're lifting, or you have to dry flood proof if you are a commercial property, but you can wet proof if you are a residential property. And they are thinking, it has not been set in stone yet, but they are looking to change that state statute into a BFE plus 5 feet, which would make a tremendous difference in how everything is built. So this is supposed to happen in 2025, but as the chief said, we can only abide by the laws that exist now, not what is being threatened to come down the pipe.
And the impervious coverage.
And impervious coverage, yes.
What are you doing on 13 risers?
I know, the whole thing's ridiculous. But the impervious coverage was also discussed with the DEP and the state about what should be allowable impervious versus pervious coverage on a lot of land that's in the floodplain.
Okay, so if I could try to summarize, come up with a suggestion, I think it would benefit everyone if that driveway was 5 feet wider. I like an 18-foot curb cut because then there are no design waivers. And we're really trying to just get that one car distant from the driveway so they don't have to worry about being being hit. And if you know there's something coming, then why not make that 5 feet stone?
Sure. That was my point earlier, yeah.
Yeah.
And it just helps us be compliant 5 years from now, or whatever it goes through, 10 years, or hopefully never, but whatever. Yeah. Okay. At that point, any other questions for the board members?
Open to the public comment?
Any other questions from the public?
I'm going to put some stuff into evidence for the record.
Is this a question? Or is it,
Not a question.
okay, well, hold off then. Give me 2 minutes, not even. Okay. Okay, if there's no other questions from the audience or the board members, we're going to close the question port. This is now time for anybody from the audience to make a statement. Come back to the mic.
Thank you. Okay.
Just repeat your name again, yes.
Sure. Steve, there was, the application indicated that there was an open, record search for information about prior, history on the line. I had looked at that line, back in 2014, 2015, and, I must admit the deeds of the transfer of ownership as part of the record, it was sold from Jack Smith, was one of the owners, sold to a builder, who slapped together some stuff, and then the current owner purchased it from that builder. And that individual, middle builder, the big stuff like Sandy, he brought in a couple of truckloads of dirt and built up that front mound in the front of my South Avenue. And what that effectively does is it pushes water to the surrounding properties, and my property gets hit with that thing. So the great elevation in the corner of the property are all inflated because of that increased dirt. So this flooding part is a problem. So I want to submit this as one of the documents, the deeds.
Just hold on.
Yeah, what's the relevance of the deed for stormwater?
It's all part of the comment about this, transfer of ownership, in that the 2180 rule isn't being considered. So I want to kind of build the record to say, hey, there was an existing house, what's called a setback, to the deeds that show the transfer of title has never been improved for this period of time, and that there was consideration, it went in front of the planning board back in 2015 or 2014, which is different from where it's now, but...
All of us.
Yeah, but they specifically looked at what they could fit with that 12-foot setback in the yard, and that was, you can look at a duplex. So these were emails from 2015 with a sample of what a duplex would look on that property. You also looked at it.
There was no application that came in for that. So that's,
Records were lost.
not in 2014, they weren't. Sandy was in 2012.
I actually question the relevance anyway. We're dealing with the current ordinance.
Correct.
And that's
Yep.
relevant, not what happened in 2015.
I know, but the relevance is that I think the Rule 2180 with 12-foot setback, something to be addressed, or answered, whether it's put forth or not, and I think it is. So I'm just putting this in. The other item I'm adding to the record is garbage. This is a sample of a 6-family over on Miller Street, 6 unit full of garbage.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sharkey. Yeah, I'll take care of it.
It goes to the relevance of the second page.
Well, hold on a second. I don't get to an argument. This application is here on its own feet. If somebody has something else going on, get this out of town, that's irrelevant for this application. It's like saying, oh, they have a blue car in their driveway, they're gonna put a red car. It's not irrelevant.
I'll pull that out, but it's one side.
Okay, well, I'm not even sure we can even take this as evidence, so I'm not sure what you're submitting. There's nobody to submit it to.
Well, the relevance is, you're citing that you want to argue the 2180 rule, but the relevance of the deed from 2014 is not relevant to whether it's out there.
Right. And I will say this too, having gone through a house lift, when they put that new foundation in, they're gonna regrade that whole property. The whole property's getting regraded. So whatever dirt's on that property right now is gonna be a different spot, trust me. And they're gonna come through and they're gonna have all their, ducks in a row, we're showing how that word's gonna go, and, the building department will be on them about that. That has nothing to do with us here.
All right, that's good to hear. I appreciate that. That's-
Yeah, I mean, there will be, that yard will be basically scraped down to whatever.
Got it. Okay, and then that addresses it, so that was the key issue. So the only other document that was submitted is my survey, plot plan, the L3 elevations, are different from the applicant's grade elevations. And
Okay, but I'm not sure that's relevant. They have their professionals take care of their own elevations. You did too. Believe it or not, Highlands does roll. People think of it as kind of flat down below, but there's spots that are substantially different.
But, Mr. Sharkey, the construction official will take care of all of the grading, and as the chairman has said, once you lift, everything that exists right now is not going to be there, because they need to dig a mighty foundation.
Oh, my
in
goodness,
order
they're gonna
to-
put the footings, where's Bruce, we need him? They're gonna be putting, these giant footings in there, 6 feet to the ground, if not deeper. They're gonna be backhoes. John's here. John, maybe you can, no, I know you can't.
It'll
But it's
be-
okay.
No, stop.
That's all right.
stop,
No, yeah, I
stop.
don't want to, I'm sorry. That was, I apologize. Shouldn't include the
No,
numbers and stuff.
absolutely not.
But, the bottom line is that yard will be dramatically different when they're done putting up that house. I'm not sure to get them too. I don't think we can take them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not anything that, I mean,
I don't think it's,
But they work. Yeah, this is funded, so it's the other sport, my husband.
okay. Well, it's more of a statement,
Yeah.
okay. Okay,
I'll give them to the work expert.
okay.
We need to instruct the clerk whether or not she's taking them or not.
no, yeah,
I don't think we can. I'm not sure the law of
the
this.
relevance, yeah,
Well, if she tries to hand it to the clerk, she's gonna say, I'm not taking them, or I am taking them.
Well,
That's
no.
right now.
Yeah, maybe let our attorney speak,
yeah,
please.
because the deeds and all that are not relevant to your argument that the 2180 rule should be applied. So you've made your statements clear that, and your objection to the application. So that's sufficient for us to consider.
All right, so enough, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And deeds are a matter of public record anyway.
Of course. Okay, any other statements from the audience? Okay. Okay. Counsel, if you want to wrap it up, we'll,
Yeah, like I already said, this is basically a conforming application. We have 3 design waivers, all of which I think are eliminated because we agreed to comply. And so we therefore respectfully request the board grant us approval.
Have you agreed to comply to the lighting?
Yeah, and so we want to work with the board engineer, we could meet it, and move some of those.
Okay. And the driveway also make it.
We're at, yeah, we'll make the driveway, throw, 18 feet and then widen it to 5 feet driveway.
okay. Then we're looking for a motion to approve this application based upon, well, I'm sorry, go
Sorry,
ahead.
Mr. Chairman, but
Yes.
I'm still addressing the parking.
I mean, we've heard pretty substantial testimony. I'm not sure what you're referring to.
The payment,
Oh, yes, Karen, maybe help on this. There is a parking waiver that I think would have to be,
The off-street parking, as you can see, I have it pulled up here. The off-street parking waiver, I would have to confer with the attorney because that is in the code 21-6514, where it specifically addresses any sort of parking deficiency fee, only mentions non-residential zones and uses, so that would not be here, but when it does address residential uses, it does not address multifamily that is, I mean, it addresses high-rise, or it does senior citizens, it does mid-rise, townhouses, garden apartments, and then 1 and 2 family. So it does not address a 5-family use.
so we can't
Which is
enforce,
something
we can't
that
enforce.
I have right here, we need to update this ordinance.
Well, because that's,
Because that is what is on the books today.
Right.
If we were to have mirrored the commercial requirements, then I believe it's a yearly fee of, $50 per space. It's not anything exorbitant.
Okay, we can obviously enforce a law that doesn't exist.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So considering that they've agreed to comply with all the design waivers, this would be an as-of-right application.
Okay. So,
I have a question. Isn't 5 units a garden apartment, right? 'Cause it's above 4 units.
I don't know. But I don't want to open up testimony.
Yeah.
You know, we've closed that part of everything, so, we're looking for somebody to make offer, a motion on that. Okay, I'll do it myself. I'll offer to, grant this application, their site, plan, adjustments based on the conditions that we've laid out. And looking for a second on that.
Second.
Okay? Mr. Gill?
Mr. Cody, a second?
Okay, I guess he beat you, sorry.
Mr. Zell, second. Mayor Brown,
No.
Chief Burton,
Yes.
Mr. Montecalvo,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Shea. No. Mr. Zell,
Yes.
Ms. Chang,
Yes.
Mr. Cody,
Yes.
Ms. McCree,
Yes.
Chair Knox.
Yes.
We have 2 for 7 versus 2 noes.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Okay, thank you, good luck. Okay, let's take a 5-minute recess, okay, and we'll reconvene.
Candy.
What's that?
I don't know.
Candy.
No.
Oh, okay, well then, that was some, see you later.
Ring pop.
That, hey Nancy, just maybe let's, I know, you got notice?
I got noticed.
Okay.
What?
I got noticed.
Why'd you get noticed? What'd you do? Really?
I think
How
probably
can that be?
I think my heel might hit it.
Oh, I was gonna say, that can't be.
But how it goes out.
Happy she is. I know, right? This is another one. I'm sorry, I don't have any candies with me. There might be something in the kitchen. Why don't you take a look?
You know what, Dan?
Sorry? We got the investors that hope to leave, so we get rid of that. And I'm sure that helps. Oh, Crazy Moments? Yeah, it's been snowing. At some point, I'm gonna have to pick up the neuters. Hey, if it's on your property, she's letting us in. This one's gonna be. This is going to be oh, she got a cookie. I knew there'd be something in there.
In where?
In the break room.
Pistachios?
Thank you. See?
Thank you.
There's all kinds of things. No, I'm good.
I haven't eaten dinner.
I haven't eaten dinner either. Thank you.
No, no,
I'm gonna hold back.
no, 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 this is good.
No, Winston Sosky is the only person I really know anymore in that building.
Okay, everybody, we're back in session. Okay. Hearing on new business, LUB 24-04, Natasi, I hope I'm saying that right, 19 Gravely Point Road, B, Block 100, Lot 26.19. And I see their council and professionals are here.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, Mayor, members of the board. I'm Ed McCann, I'm from New Jersey. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. Also, just mention that if I'm more than 20 minutes, throw me out.
That's on record, Mr. McKenna, that is on record. We may hope.
All right, I can do it once.
Mr. McKenna, if I would go, the microphone is that.
I'll do that.
For the record, thank you.
And you just turned it off.
When you see the green, you're good.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. The property in question is located on Gravelly Point Road, number 19. It's block 100, lot 2619. It is in the R-2.03 zone. However, we are in the bungalow colonies section. And that's the particular zoning that we're dealing with on this. There are some variances that are needed, however, I would note, they are all pre-existing. So essentially, and Kathy Franco is going to testify as far as the architectural is concerned, and then for purposes of tonight, I'm going to be calling the contractor, John Caruso, and asking him to address the board on the particulars. However, but we got the engineer's letter also, and have made the changes necessary on the amended plan that was submitted. So essentially what we have is an undersized lot, again, pre-existing non-conforming, minimum lot depth, again, existing, non-conforming. The setback, 3 feet is provided, 3 feet is allowed. We're at 2.37 feet, so it's basically, essentially at the 3 feet. And then the only other issue really is the height of the building. You're going to hear testimony that the height that we're seeking actually would comply with the R203 residential zone. But in the bungalow colonies, it's only 20 feet that's normally required. And we're going to provide testimony in connection therewith. In fact, what you're going to hear from Ms. Franco is essentially why we're doing what we're doing, and then we're going to ask the contractor also to testify to the board as to that particular variance. The rest of it, as I said, are just pre-existing non-conforming. So, Ms. Franco, if you don't mind, would you be sworn in, please?
And the testimony you're about to provide, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
See.
Do you want my credentials?
We do.
Yeah.
We don't know who you are.
Yes. I've been practicing for about 35 years, time to retire, and I've been in front of this board numerous times, many clients, and I've done about 10 projects on Gravelly Point.
And you're a licensed architect here in the state of New Jersey, and your license is in good standing at the present time, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you can just state and spell your name for the record.
Catherine with capital C, and then Franco, F-R-A-N-C-O.
Yep, thank you. Accepted.
Do you mind if I call her Kathy, just because that's her name, it's my policy? Kathy, you were retained by the applicants in this matter to design the dwelling that they are seeking to get approval for this evening, correct?
Yes.
All right, would you explain to the board exactly what you have designed and what the plan is?
Okay. We started off with, we needed extra garage space to put the cars inside. Okay, they own one of the bigger properties, and we have space for the garage. And then on top of that, if you know the house, it's very small. It had been a bungalow that had been raised. So we want to bring it up to today's standards because they're going to live there 12 months out of the year. So what we did is, like I said, on the grade level, we added a garage. Then on the second level, we have a nice outdoor deck, and we took out a bedroom to make the kitchen larger. We installed a stair, and we made the living room larger. Then on the second level of living, we have 3 bedrooms. One is a master bedroom and 2 bathrooms. If we look at the elevations, you can see how it's an existing raised building. So I left that height alone. And then what we have is 10-foot ceiling heights and then a 9-foot ceiling height, just to make it more of a modern look inside. And that brings us to our mean roof height. We didn't put a flat roof because that's where we have to put our utilities. That's the biggest reason that we have to do. And that's about it.
So, in this particular instance, one of the advantages is it's difficult getting street parking over on
Yes.
Gravelly Point Road, correct?
Yes.
And by adding that third garage, we have 3 cars now presently on the property. Now we will have full garage space for
Yes.
all 3 cars,
Yes.
correct?
Yes. And as a matter of fact, as you can see on page C1, we could have tandem parking there too. Okay. There is no parking on that street because it is so narrow. So this allows for a better way of parking for my clients.
And if you had a guest over or something like that, you could tandem park and not have to worry about the guest having a place
Yes.
to park their vehicle, correct?
One thing I did want to mention though, if you look at the survey, almost all the houses on Gravelly Point Road have the deck coming over the property line. And what we decided to do is remove that elevated deck, so there's no deck over the property.
It's completely compliant now, correct? Right. And you spoke briefly about the utilities. The reason that we are looking for that attic space is specifically to get the utilities off grade,
Yes.
correct?
Well, yes,
All right?
above the flood elevation.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Any questions of the architect?
Just to, I guess, on the utilities, so we're gonna put it in the attic,
Yes.
basically? Okay.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. How about air conditioning unit?
It's probably gonna have to go on see where it says AC now? In the back, on the survey? Kind of missing on the screen there, but we're thinking of keeping it there because we have the 3-foot setback. We'll still be within our setback, but of course, it'll be.
It'll be on an elevated pad?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, from the board? Okay.
I don't mean to oversimplify it, but I don't mean to take up your time.
No, I understand. And it's a little bit of a weird situation because for 150 years, it was a bungalow community. And in the last, I don't know, 40 years maybe, it started becoming more of a residential year-round community. And then, of course, when Hurricane Sandy hit, it dramatically changed that area.
After Sandy, it all became 333,
Yeah.
you know, and there's really no building coverage requirement down there because they're all so small, the lots.
Right.
You know?
What, how's the access to the attic space? Pull downstairs?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? You said they need to, refresh my memory, why they're ultimately here. I know that the bungalow versus residential.
It's the building height because it's a bungalow colony, which we should just dispense with that ordinance
Yeah.
anyway, since I believe there might be 2 actual bungalows left on Gravelly Point that are on the ground.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hang on.
Okay.
We'll get there.
So I'm just trying to figure out if this was anywhere else in town, you may or may not even be before this board.
Correct.
That's right.
Okay.
So if you went with the regular residential or zoning, they wouldn't be.
That's what my interpretation of this was too. Okay. Any other questions from the board members? Okay. Any questions?
You know, the collar ties in that attic space?
The collar ties? Oh, no, I can, let me see, probably does, they're probably 4 feet maybe. Yeah, they're not high.
Yeah, so you can.
Oh, in the
can't
attic.
walk out there. Yeah.
So it's minimal storage and, okay. Any questions for anything in the audience for the application? Okay. Any other questions for anybody? No? Okay.
That's probably the most straightforward thing I've ever seen.
Any statements from the audience? Okay, seeing none.
You said you had another witness?
Yes, I'd like to call the contractor, John Cruz.
Okay.
Thanks, Ken.
Okay.
In the testimony you're about to provide, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please, state, spell your name for the record, and
John J. Crusoe, Little John's Construction.
Thank you, Mr. Crusoe. So, you're testifying tonight, and you have been retained as the contractor if this application is granted, to do the work that is going to be required to convert this structure. Is that correct? Now, would you advise the board of your history on Gravelly Point Road?
I live on Gravelly Point Road for about 25 years now. I've built 14 new homes on Gravelly Point Road. I renovated probably another 10, and I lifted 3, including this house. I actually was the one who did the lift on this house.
And you're also familiar with what's been going on as far as the height of the other, many of the structures that you have worked on?
Yes,
Is that correct?
Yes, my wife and I have owned a few buildings, and we've been in front of the board for the same exact variance a few times.
In fact, I had asked you earlier today to calculate how many times you've been before the board as to this one particular issue, the height issue. And I believe your indication was that you...
Yeah, between 7 and 8.
Okay.
For ourselves and other customers.
For Gravity Point Road.
For Gravelly Point Road.
Oh, it's, yes, no,
For the exact same...
Yep.
Exact same thing.
I was right here with it, yep.
Okay, so in connection with this, it would be your respective opinion as a resident of the borough, but also as a contractor and one who has built many homes here on Gravelly Point Road and done homes with this, where this variance has been granted, that this board has found on at least 8 occasions that the criteria were adequate, that it did not impair the intent of the zone plan, and did not cause any detriment to the public good. Is that correct?
That's correct. And it would conform more to the buildings around it.
Okay, understood. You know, every application stays on its own 2 feet, but understood.
I understand.
Yep.
And then, any questions for Mr. Crusoe?
Anybody from the board?
No.
Okay. Anybody from the audience have any questions? Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman,
You got 2 minutes, by the way.
Almost there.
That's why my one request is that you not require the production of an expert this evening. And if the board consider voting on this application, I had an expert lined up. He was unable to make it this evening, he had a conflict. I can assure you, I can even submit a written report that his testimony would substantiate the prior variances that have been approved by the board. His testimony that he read to me about a week ago was exactly what the board would anticipate, and that is that the granting of this variance would not in any way impair the intent of the zoning plan or be detrimental to the public good. I don't know if the board feels comfortable voting on without that expert testimony.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure, well, who was it? Who are you gonna have?
This guy named Ed O'Neill, who's from Red Bank, he's a professional planner.
Okay.
And an architect. So he's familiar with everything here. He's testified for me on at least 50 occasions.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would think if his testimony, if he's not here, then it's basically hearsay.
I understand.
I'm not sure this application would actually need that because it is more of a language issue as opposed to you're trying to do something that's so out of whack and, you know, needs multiple variances that are not pre-existing and things along those lines.
Well, and historically, even though every application that I agree stands on its own, when historically this board has made repeated decisions, and if I recall correctly, I've even heard comments that you're considering perhaps amending the ordinance in some way, just so you don't have to deal with this issue repeatedly in this particular
Well,
zone.
there's probably 2 houses left over there.
Yeah, I think it's probably
Okay.
2 houses left that don't have variance, but,
Okay.
so I'm bound to whatever the board's, decision is. I'm happy to cooperate in any way necessary, and I'd love for the board to feel comfortable with whatever your decision is. But, if that's the only variance that, needs anything, approaching that level of intensity.
Okay, understood. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I guess we're looking for a motion to approve or deny this application. Okay, seconded. There is a condition, we need to make sure that's in there with that one variance, but, it goes on the record. Maybe you can say it again, Mr. Muller?
Sorry, was the,
Just that the one variance they do require.
oh, yeah, I thought you meant a condition. No, the one, the lot area, the lot depth, and the rear setback are pre-existing. The only new one being created is the building height.
Okay, which is a great one, anyway. Okay, roll call?
So that was Mr. Cody motioning and Mr. Vickery seconding. Mayor Bruin?
Yes.
Chief Burton?
Yes.
Councilmember Olszewski? Yes. Mr. Zill?
Yes.
Mr. Cody?
Yes.
Ms. Vickery?
Yes.
Chair Knox?
Yes.
Thank you.
That was close, you had 30 seconds.
And by the way, if you don't mind me taking a minute, I love what you did. I feel like it's fabulous, you deserve it, and it's really
It's an improvement for the area community, no doubt.
Obviously, you did a great job.
Absolutely.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good to see everybody.
Welcome back. Okay, I guess let's hold on for 1 second. Look for yourselves real quick. We haven't been together in a while because of the various things.
Yes.
The master plan stuff. Still kind of,
Thank you.
good luck. Yep,
Good luck.
yep, thank you. Good luck.
Yeah, we still need to, think about, I don't know if anyone has gone back to our 2016 master plan reassessment. I urge everyone to go through it and read it. There's a bunch of different sections. If you find a couple of sections that speak to you in some way, Mr. Zill is on the, Environmental Commission. Maybe you would like to take a look at what we had back then. Like, things like that. There are obviously floodplain issues that we'll have to, have DPW and our engineer look at. But if there's any sort of planning issues that anyone wants to champion, that section to update, just let the chairman know. And that way we don't have people duplicating efforts. And, okay, well, is there any?
No, I mean, I looked at it.
Yep.
You know, but I don't have any.
Okay. I always like to ask people to volunteer before they're voluntold. That's right.
No, I mean, no, I don't, I really have no life, so that's it.
Boy, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
I mean, I like RT kind of stuff, so we're considering if we're doing a district and tracking.
Sure.
Museums and tattoo parlors and things like that.
Okay.
Well, no, it's on the books that you can't have one.
No, but we changed that.
Changed it?
Now you can.
Yeah.
Now
Was
you
changed a few years ago.
can. But no one's, banging down the door looking for that
Okay.
as of yet.
All right, then looking for a motion to adjourn?
I have one thing real quick.
Yep.
Just in case I'm not here, just so everybody's aware, we had an issue, we didn't have one, but up on Grand Porter was an issue recently. We approved a subdivision. I don't know if this is the right time, but.
No, this is a perfect time.
Yeah.
We approved the subdivision, and everything was in order. When they subdivided the property, they went and built a new house. On that property of the new house was the sewer line for the other house.
Yep.
And the gas
And
line.
gas,
Yeah.
and they didn't know it. So just in the future, I don't know if we can make a stipulation, just in case I'm not here, that if we do have any subdivisions, maybe we can ask for a mark out of those sewer lines ahead of
Absolutely.
time, and or stipulate that if we do find, if during the course of the building that's on there, the person's responsible to rectify.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
We
good
actually,
idea.
we had a meeting this afternoon regarding that, about,
That's
yeah, that was the same thing. Also, it's come to light that, the original home of 38, Sheila's house, before her and her husband took over that house, and obviously before it got sold and subdivided and all that other jazz, just as I had suspected, that house was moved. So that's why all of the gas and the sewer lines were in a peculiar, as you used the word, a spot. They moved it. They moved it to make another lot, but they never actually, our mother never actually, did that oh my God. No, it was probably 50 years ago.
I gotta ask Bobby Monroe, she will know.
She'll know, yes. But anyway, so just for future reference, anytime we're subdividing a lot, they have to show where the utilities are. If they had just picked up old tax maps from, that show where the sewer lines were from the 1930s that we've got here still, it shows it plain as day exactly where, the gas is and where the, sewer location is.
That's a great idea. That's actually one of our criteria.
Absolutely, it has to be on the
An
checklist.
automatic.
And we're also going to put it on the checklist for the building department. I confirmed that with Steve Winters. So he's going to be changing his forms. We have to change our ordinance. So there's a lot of ordinance changes happening.
People
Yeah.
are stuck in a miserable
And-
place because.
And also on just the resolution that we memorialized tonight, we included a condition that they confirm
Mark out,
where the
yeah.
utilities are.
That's the stuff.
It's just to save ourselves any,
Not the old one.
Further headaches for
Yes.
the property owners.
Whatever he's.
and I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Which is.
Second.
The last thing, both of them are. Well.
All in favor?
Well,
Who seconded?
Yes.
yes,
Stacy.
7 feet in.
We did it 9:24. Thank you, everyone.
7 feet in from the property.